Coming up on this episode of Open for Business, crowdfunding a New Year's Eve party? Why not? Another online retailer hurting the brick and mortar, and the power of collaboration. All that and more next on episode 63 of Open for Business.
This is the Hartford Online Radio Network. 21st Century Audio. Delivered. onthehorn.com.
Bandwidth for On the Horn is provided by Amazon S3 servers. Amazon S3 is storage over the internet. Retrieve any amount of data at any time from anywhere on the web. Highly scalable, reliable, secure, fast, and inexpensive. All from a name you trust, Amazon. For more information about Amazon S3 storage, visit aws.amazon.com. Hi, everybody. I'm Brian Parker, and I'm joined tonight by the Zen Master, Tommy Russo, co-owner of L&R Productions, the full-service advertising, audio, video production house agency. Are you advertising agency, an audio-video production house, kind of everything all together? What are you?
Two companies under one umbrella. Full-service ad agency, full-service broadcast production company.
Broadcast production. And literally, you hear their commercials everywhere. Even some of their, you did like the Rock Cats thing, right?
The Rock Cats jingle, that's ours. It's been on the air.
What was the other one? Oh, the Columbia Dental thing.
Columbia Dental.
You can win.
Well, you got that one down.
It's very catchy.
American Ladders and Scaffolds. I mean, the list.
Oh, no kidding. I know that. I haven't heard that one on the air lately.
No, it's been out there. We Take You Higher. I mean, the list goes on. And
higher. Yeah. We take you higher. That's awesome. We should get there. Also joining us, Ken Cook, acclaimed author, speaker, Fortune 500 consultant, and contributor to Inc. magazine, now running peer-to-peeradvisors.com. Hello, Ken.
Please stop this juice diet.
Please. What do you mean the juice diet? What's wrong with my juice diet? Yo?
Oh, your energy level's over the top. It's incredible.
You want me just to be curmudgeon Brian over here?
Yeah, curmudgeon Brian's
curmudgeon
fun.
Brian. We're going to talk about business. Here's the business I'm going to give you. Give me money, I'm going to give you nothing for it.
There you are.
You don't deserve it, and I want your money.
There's a business model we can all admire.
Actually, I want your money because I'm going to Vegas, baby.
I'm going to Vegas. Hey, that gets into our first hot potato. That was very good. Crowd Tilt, which is another Kickstarter, used their own platform for raising money. They raised $62,000 for what? A private jet and a limo, and a killer New Year's Eve party in Vegas for all of their employees and friends.
I love them.
Like, wow.
How good is that?
Okay. That's fascinating.
I mean, that's chutzpah beyond anything that I can imagine bringing to the planet.
That's just as good as it gets, though. It's like, hey, world, I want to go to Vegas and party. Give me some money, please.
Yeah, I mean, that's like, and the fact is that they raised $62,000 for it.
That's incredible.
It is.
Wow.
Incredible.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's real money.
So does it speak more to, again, I'll use the word chutzpah, that the individuals have, or those that are funding this episode?
I think,
what's behind that? Is that?
I have no idea why anyone would give them money for that, but they
350 million people in the United States. Getting $62,000 for something like this is probably nothing, but it puts an idea in my head. Maybe I'll invest in some audio equipment and make a Kickstarter for...
we could put On the Horn on Crowd Tilt or Kickstarter or one of them. Yeah. Emphasize the art and creative development side of the business. Yeah. And I bet you we could fund an ultra nice studio. What do you think?
Ultra nice.
Ultra nice. That means a screen where we can see what you're seeing.
Absolutely. And plush offices for all three of us. And
we used to, but one of our TVs got stolen.
Yeah, I know.
You'll notice, for those of you watching the video right behind me, there used to be a TV right about here, right behind my head.
All right, I don't need ultra nice, just security conscious. How's that? Save the studio.
Where'd it go? And then, the thing is, like, what do? Do you call the insurance company? You're like, well...
We should do that.
But it was like it was an $800 TV, and what am I going to do? And then my deductible goes up, and blah, 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 blah. I'm going to forget it.
You could do that and promise everybody that contributes $100 or more one 15-second spot on some show on the Horn. No more than one, but at least one over the next 6 months.
$100. Well, let's put some math to this. So if it was let's say it's $50,000. How many $100 bills is $50,000? Is that 1,000? No, it can't be right. Someone in the chat room do this for me because my mind is like mush right now.
God.
So $50,000 divided by, it would be 5,000 be 500. Divided by, it's 500.
I think so.
100s.
I think it's 5. Yeah, because 10
making me use
100s is 1,000.
500.
That's what I just said.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks. Be late to the game. Yeah. So because I was thinking like, well, 500. That would be that's still a lot to do, even just a 15-second commercial. What if we did like everyone that contributed $500? How about 1,000? It's the even number. $1,000
for a 30-second ad.
And no, you get an interview.
I love it.
You get a half-hour interview.
So we're going to do 50 half-hour interviews.
If we got $50,000
over the course of a calendar year, sure,
I would do 50.
50 half-hour interviews over the course, and they get the copy of the interview to broadcast and use in whatever they want for their own marketing. Copy, not rights, but copy.
All right, I'll have to think about that. Then again, it probably wouldn't be that big of a deal because I would have $50,000 to get the recording equipment to do that quickly. So I'm trying to think of how I would do it now.
Well, maybe we should put this in R&D and mull over it.
I think we should dedicate a little thought process to this.
Seriously.
Yeah.
But, this brings up another whole thing about, like, Kickstarter programs, this crowdsource funding.
Yeah.
What do you guys think of that?
I think we better get in before it gets regulated. Because it will be in a not too distant future, my man.
Yeah.
Not too distant.
You know what? You might be right. I wonder how.
Do it now, or else we won't be able to.
There's another one, the
point.
Pebble
Really
Watch, and I don't remember how much they actually asked for. I think it was something like $50,000 or maybe $100,000, or it was something low in compared to the like $3 or $4 million that they got to start doing this Pebble Watch thing. Now, the Pebble Watch, it's a wristwatch that it syncs with your phone. And so you can play, your MP3s like via iTunes, or you can have your schedule automatically show up on your watch. If you have an appointment, your watch will kind of buzz and bing. I mean, we're really
like the smartwatch.
Yeah, it's a smartwatch. Very cool idea. Really kind of one step away from that, like, Knight Rider watch that Michael Knight always used to wear, which is great. If we can get that and Ford to build a completely automated car and then have those two things talk to one another, we are all set. The cars can already park themselves, so I imagine drive. They have these things where the car will identify if you're drifting out of your lane, and it will beep. And some of them will not only beep, but they'll turn the wheel for you.
Really?
That would bother me.
I think, I'm not really a big fan of that. My father-in-law has a Volvo. Is Volvo made by Ford?
Used to be. They're owned by the Chinese now, believe it or not.
Are they really? I didn't know that.
And that's why they're getting so technologically advanced. But he has one, but it's like the buzzer or the warning signal when you're backing up, especially just out of the garage. You're going to be near stuff because you got the garage doors there. It's so loud. It is so loud. I could not do that. But I do like the reverse camera, which I've had on.
That's helpful.
I've had 2 or 3 cars with that, and I do like that.
Yeah.
And I don't do the thing where you kind of lean over the back and look out the back window, which is great because I'm not very flexible anymore.
But there are certain safety features that I would turn off automatically. The automatic locking of the doors. Turn that sucker off.
Yeah, like when you get out of your car and like you have to remember to unlock the car if you want to get your briefcase.
No, when you get in the car.
Yeah.
Put it in reverse, pull out of the driveway, put it in drive, and you're not more than 50 yards down the road and the doors automatically lock.
I'm okay with that.
No.
What I don't like is, like I'm getting out of my car, the doors should just unlock already, or at least give me the option to just have the doors unlocked, because invariably, especially like when I'm getting like my daughter out of her car seat, I like get out of my car, go around to the passenger side, back door, try to get her out. I grab the handle. Nope, still locked. I go all the way around the car again. And so, I'm now getting in the habit of, like, every time I open the door, I just unlock it at the same time. But it's needless. The car is getting too smart for me.
Well, we hope some car manufacturers are paying attention in this moment. My guess is they're not.
I hope so.
Right.
I'm sure there's going to be an app for that you can get online.
There will be. We planted it somewhere out in the Netherlands, and they are going to Kickstarter and funding it. And as we speak.
It's exactly right. Speaking of online sales here, this was an interesting story. The Hall and Madden Company, they make custom shirts.
Yep. And
they're doing it all online. Interesting story. This was from, Business Insider.
Yep.
This was about, you found who found this? Ken found this?
Ken did.
I did.
This was about the guys saying, boy, we got guys buying, $1,200 suits, and, they got a $60 shirt underneath it, and it's kind of ridiculous. Well, this guy has made a system now, Hall and Madden, where you go, you give him some measurements, and he will custom tailor a shirt to you.
Yeah.
And it's a really good deal, I think. $150. For $150, men get 3 dress shirts customized to fit them based on height, weight, and other measurements provided by the customer. That $50 a shirt
is huge.
That's great. That's a great deal.
Yeah, you go to a good friend of ours does custom shirts. We've had him on the show, Bob DeGemis, and mid to low range cotton.
Yeah,
$125 to $150 a shirt.
Yeah. And I mean, you think about, you go into Men's Warehouse or wherever, you're paying $25 to $50 anyway for the shirt. Yeah. You might as well get one that actually fits you.
Well, you and I have similar builds. If I go out and buy a shirt off of the rack, I need to buy a neck that's 18 and a half because my neck is huge.
Yeah.
But I buy a neck that large, and it feels like I'm wearing a tent. I mean, the amount of fabric in the lower portion of the shirt is incredible.
And this is why you and I don't wear ties anymore. Because we have to buy the smaller shirt that still fits, but the neck, we can't close the neck.
Actually, it's why I buy a few custom shirts so I can wear a tie.
That's brilliant.
You put a couple of them in your closet, you're okay.
Yeah. And obviously, the chat room is saying we don't need that, and we don't, if you don't wear those sort of shirts, then you don't need it.
Yeah, or if the population's dressing up again.
What did I see? It was something.
Dress Up Friday.
Yeah, Dress Up Friday. I can't remember what it was. I think it was somewhere in New York, but I love that idea.
Yeah.
It's like they're casual all week long, and then you dress to the nines.
And shows like Mad Men.
Yeah.
I mean, they're bringing it back. Stuff. Yeah.
But I'll tell you, though, I do not, since I've gotten heavy, I don't look good. I don't look good when I dress up.
Well, if you had a custom suit and a custom shirt, you would look a lot better.
I don't have a custom shirt, but even my custom suits are like, You look like,
You look bigger than you
should. Omar the tent maker came to see me the other day and gave me this.
So the custom suits were made after you put the weight on? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, because I would go down to Joseph Banks or something and get one. I'm like, well, this looks horrendous.
Yeah.
So then I got 2 or 3 custom ones. It was all at one fell swoop. And, they were $1,200, but they were like, maybe $900,000.
Yeah.
And they're beautiful. They really are beautiful. It's just that, since I look like a potato, I don't look good. And so I have to dress, like this. And, I'm khakis and a blue blazer now.
All right, stay on the juice diet then.
All right, I'm staying on the juice diet, down 12 pounds.
Amen.
How many more days?
2.
Good for you.
What is today? No, 1. Tomorrow.
Good for you.
Tomorrow ends it.
Well done.
Well done. That is great. We have a focused discussion point tonight on collaboration.
The power thereof.
The power thereof, collaboration. Now, you know what? It needs a nice intro. So I'm going to look to our contributor to Inc. magazine to do that there. Tell me about collaboration.
Well, the intro on this and the appeal of it started with the author, Tom Friedman, one of my favorite columnists, one of my favorite authors. The World is Flat, That Used to Be Us. I mean, he just has such insights into where business and global shifts are going. And he put this was in last Sunday's New York Times. And he started talking about how one of the most competitive environments in the world, Silicon Valley, has a tremendous amount of collaboration going on. And
as a part of the culture.
As part of the culture, this is how they operate. The example that he gave, and Brian, you'll love this one. Apple, iPhone map apps sucks. Apple's response, buy Google Maps. Their number one competitor, and their response for customer service is go buy our number one competitor's application because it's better than what we're doing.
Yeah. And it's free. It's not really a buy, but yeah.
Yeah, but it puts Google deep into the application. The other thing that he said, and this is the one that I loved, in Congress, collaboration means something very different. It's considered an act of treason. Where's the phrase?
Like collaborating with the Nazis.
Collaborating meaning you're a traitor. You're working with the other side of the aisle, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And let me locate it here. Bear with me just a moment. And I'm not finding it. Oh, okay. This is why, and he talks about the difference between Silicon Valley and D.C. and Congress and how it operates and how the traitorous application of collaboration is considered the norm there. And he says that's why if Congress were a startup, the early stage investors would have long ago been wiped out and the firm shuttered. Cause of death, an inability of the partners to collaborate.
It's well articulated.
You know, there's this idea of, 1 + 1 = 4.
Yes.
And I'm trying to read the chat room at the same time, but which I really like because, let's look at the value there. If you have one person doing one task and another person doing another task together, if they collaborate, they can not only make the sum of two products, but in the collaboration process, it's much like the artistic process. They might look at what you're doing, which might spur another idea for him, and they might look at what you're doing. That would spur another idea. Now you all of a sudden have 4 products out of this collaborating, which is really, very, very important. And, we can think of it here, to do the show. If I was to do this show, I would, by myself, I would probably have to do it once a month.
Yeah.
Quite honestly. Between all like the technology stuff, or like, if Tommy was going to go ahead and do this show on his own without us, he could probably do it once a month. And that's because, we collaborate on all these different ideas, but it also gets me thinking about other things, much like the Kickstarter thing about the New Year's Eve, almost like a throwaway story, ha 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 ha. But then it got me thinking of, hey, what I just saw is Pebble's actually going to ship their products. Let me zip over to smartplanet.com and look up that article that I know that they did on that. So, this is sort of the collaborating. And that is key for business. It's vacant in politics.
Yep.
And it's a choice that you guys, out there need to make and just kind of do.
Absolutely. I mean, it's fundamental, I think, to every single type of relationship that we have. And whether it's marriage or you're working with your children or your business partner or someone in the clergy, the whole concept and embrace of collaboration, I think, is fundamental. Yet it amazes me on a very regular basis, using religion as a quick example, of how little collaboration there occurs under that in particular umbrella.
Yeah. I'm not going to go there.
Okay.
Okay. Stimulating.
Oh, boy.
Radio. I love it. I can't wait. It's like a mystery. Tommy, what did you think of the CEO of LinkedIn actually chimed in this article, Jeff Weiner. What did you think of his explanation of collaboration?
It's something I liked it. I liked it a lot. And if you think about the culture of LinkedIn, what is at the fundamental core of it? It is about collaboration. It's about you and me reaching out to each other and finding ways for connectivity so that we can help to, I mean, I know that's the ideal of it. It may not be the reality of it, but for you and I to find ways to connect, collaborate, and help to raise the tide for each other.
He says, if everyone understood that you can't build great government alone, our country would be a different place. Do you agree with that?
Yes, completely.
And do you think we should see? So here's my question: as far as government goes, do you think we should collaborate more and everyone get on the same page, or do you think the U.S. is a very unique place, and it actually is good for us to have vastly different opinions that we can defend to our dying breath?
They're not mutually exclusive. You can have vastly different opinions and collaborate.
Bingo. One of the best books that I read in 2012, and maybe one of the best books I've read, period, is what I believe will be Covey's last effort. It's called The Third Alternative. And his approach in that book is just what you're talking about. Mm-hmm. It's recognizing that you have a polar opposite viewpoint on a subject than I do. But the two of us willing to look each other in the eye and say, okay, I know you're hard left and you know I'm hard right, but is there a willingness here to find something that's even better than your hard left and my hard right?
Yeah.
And if you're willing to look at me and say, yes, of course, then we begin to collaborate. There's the essence of it.
Yeah. I mean, the Newtown shootings, one of the biggest, most eye-opening things for me is the growing sentiment that how to address the concern about the proliferation of guns needs to come from the gun owners. Because there is a high percentage, greater than 50% of gun owners feel that in some way, shape, or form, there should be something that addresses the
proliferation.
Thank you very much, of guns. And
it's the P word.
Ask them. Let them. I mean, they know their environment.
Let me ask you. If you want to do that, what does that mean? The proliferation of guns. I mean, to me, that means that we're just going to have more and more and more and more and more and more guns. Is that what your understanding of that phrase is?
No, the proliferation of guns as it exists today is the incredible amount and variety that are freely available without any sense of check and balance in some way, shape, or form.
Okay. So, and this is, we were actually discussing this in the pre-show with some of the folks in the chat room. My contention is that the real issues here are not being addressed to my satisfaction, and that is mental health and violence, a culture of violence in the United States.
Yes.
I mean, everyone kind of laughs off this thing about, gun violence in video games and on TV. Video games, I can almost, maybe I can't. I was going to say I can almost give it past you, but you know what? I really can't. And certainly I've played them, and I've played them a lot. And, that doesn't mean I'm going to go out and shoot somebody. But, I wonder if there is such violence on television constantly. You can't have a real hit TV show. Even, you look at some of the sitcoms, what are the occupations of the people? They're cops. Like, geez, why can't we just have something else?
Every top drama opens the show with somebody killed. NCIS, CSI, The Closer when that was on TNT.
Yeah.
I mean, they're all, every Law and Order out there starts off with dead bodies.
And it's interesting. Why is that? And now, and I'll tell. I mean, I'm a cord cutter now, so I don't watch a lot of television. But when I did, we would watch the broadcast dramas.
Mm-hmm.
NCIS was a favorite of ours. But you know what we go to bed to? We go to bed to astronomy talk or whatever the heck, all those Discovery or National Geographic stuff. And I think that to me is way more interesting.
I'm with you. I love
that is just even if they're full of garbage and they're talking about aliens from space built the pyramids, it's still just it's kind of fun. It's kind of it's
I love
like
Discovery
dessert
Channel.
for your mind as you're going to sleep.
That's a nice way of putting it. Absolutely.
Yeah. But, I mean, bringing us back on the issue of collaboration, though, if all of these shows are out there promoting violence, and every 9 out of 10 video games promote violence in some way, shape, or form. The point about collaboration is, again, it's not a matter of absolute one exclusion of another. The conversation does have elements of mental illness in it. The conversation does have the opinions of the gun owners. The conversation does have the Hollywood community as part of the discussion. The conversation does have the video game production community as part of the discussion. Collaboration is about not silencing voices. Collaboration is about not having power over somebody, but working with someone. The worst thing in the world, the biggest killer of collaboration, is power over. I have to be right, therefore you are wrong.
Right.
And that is what is wrong with Congress. You cannot cross that aisle because they're always wrong, we're always right. I don't care what side you put on that equation, but they're always wrong and we're always right.
Yeah.
And that is the worst killer to any solution. Everybody out here that doesn't exist inside of that beltway down in D.C. has some very creative ideas on how to balance our budget. Yet, you get inside that beltway, and it's only winners and losers. That's why the lobbyists live there. That's why all the big money lives there. Collaboration doesn't exist. And the poison is that you have businesses who can't make decisions because they don't know what's going to happen.
It's an interesting idea as far as business versus government collaborating on things like taxes. My problem with this idea is that big business has a voice. Small business, we're screaming into the wind.
Yeah, pretty much. Pretty much.
And I don't really know. I don't know how we would, because at some point you have to kind of organize your message, and if everyone has a different opinion,
you need a seat at the table, and it has to start at the top to give everybody a seat at the table.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, at one point I held out hope, like everybody did with the first Obama election, that he was going to be able to mitigate the power over culture of D.C.
Yeah.
And he got run onto the truck. I mean, basically run over. There was no way he could find anybody that wanted to collaborate with him who was on the other side.
Especially
nobody.
Yeah.
Literally no one. And when you don't have another party in the collaboration, there's nothing to work on.
There is no collaboration.
Yeah. And that's why I love Friedman's column, because he sits there and he takes what anyone would view as a just incredibly competitive environment in Silicon Valley, where you have hundreds of millions of dollars in venture capital going into ideas where patents are sacrosanct and you protect them and you allow no one to steal your ideas, and you find the best engineers and the best software developers and you plug them in. Yet in that environment, they collaborate all the time, every day.
Well, and here's another right coming back home example. Brian, the initiative that you took last week in inviting Chris Reimer to join us on the show. Chris is another podcaster, and you made the decision to bring him in.
He's just a blogger. He's not actually a podcaster.
Oh, okay.
He writes a blog.
But nonetheless, you brought him in, and that was, to me, a small but yet very nice example of bringing someone else in and collaborating with them. I mean, the opportunities never go away. They're always there. It's just having the vision to be able to see it and to put your own agenda aside and stop with just what you were talking about, Ken. Coming from the control drama of I'm right, you're wrong, as opposed to maybe there's a better way.
There's a tremendous amount of difference about being certain about something and being right about something. I am certain that the Republicans think they are right, and I am certain that the Democrats think they are right. The problem is that I'm willing to compromise on my certainty when presented with facts. Neither of the parties are. I mean, facts are presented, and they look at that, and if it's contrary to what they're certain about, they are ignored, even discounted, even denigrated.
Well, we're going to have, I guess there's 9 or so pillars or 19, what is it, 19 executive orders that the president's going to sign.
That's the flag floated, yeah.
For the gun laws.
Yeah.
And, I have not seen them. We were trying to find it somewhere, but we couldn't find it before.
Yeah, they're not out yet.
Oh, they're not out yet?
No, there's just teases of what they're going to be if.
Well, I mean, but, like some of the obvious things, I have to go through, continuing education for my investment business. And it's, every year. Accountants have to do continuing education. Insurance guys got to do continuing education. Everybody does continuing education. It's a good thing. Why not making some continuing ed requirements for gun owners? All you're going to do is reinforce
good
stuff
practices
that you want people to know.
Exactly.
And then, why not have, talk about a revenue maker for the government. My gosh.
Yeah.
You could do this for boating classes.
Yeah.
You could do this for driving your car.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, how many times have you been in the left lane and someone's going, 50 in a 65 mile an hour, and I'm like, get over to the right.
Yeah.
It would be great if I knew, what, I hope that they cover that. It might even give me a sense of solace.
It would.
That person might, in their next continuing education credit course they have to do to keep their driver's license, it clicks.
Yeah.
That they can't just hang out and
it's
drive.
An interesting concept. I like it.
There's also, when you talk about innovation and creativity, there is a commonly held belief, more than a belief, it's an actual proven practice, that the best way to develop innovation and creativity into a culture is to have a nothing wrong time frame, where when you're going to sit down at a table with a team of people and work on a problem, there are no bad ideas. There are no discounts of any ideas. Tom can't throw an idea out on the table, be 2 sentences into the explanation, and have me say to him, Tom, thanks for the idea, but I don't think it'll work because. That is never allowed in an innovation session. There are no bad ideas. That is what the thinking process needs to be. I mean, Obama's throwing out raising the flag of 19 executive orders.
Yeah.
From a power over position. He's not collaborating. He's saying, I have the power to ignore you. And the only thing that does is give the other side, well, if he's going to ignore me, I'm going to get him. Defensiveness, it's a natural reaction.
One of the, I'll go back to the book that I recommended to the folks that are tuning in this evening, The Third Alternative. One of the points that Covey brings up in that book is a technique that I believe was originated with the American Indians. I'm not 100% sure of that, but it's called talking stick. And the whole concept of the talking stick, and in so many words, Ken, this is just what you're discussing, is, let's say you and I are in disagreement on something and we're not doing a good job of collaborating. That talking stick, whether it's actually an instrument that I'm going to hold on to or just the concept, while that stick is in my hand, your job is to do as best you can to listen empathetically to everything that I have to say, and then to be able to reiterate back to me everything that I've shared so that I feel like I'm completely understood.
I love that.
And then, if you go online and you look for it, you'll see tons of information on the whole talking stick concept. And then it's your turn. The stick is now in your hand, and you'll do the same thing. You share all of your thoughts, feelings on that, and one more time, it's my job to say, Ken, is this what you meant? Am I understanding you correctly?
Oh, wonderful.
Right, and absolutely the likelihood, going back to the title of this show or this portion of the show, the likelihood of collaboration increases dramatically if we are employing techniques along those lines.
That's great. You gave 2 beautiful skill sets in that definition there. One of them, empathetic listening, and the other one, paraphrasing. If I can listen empathetically, which means I listen from your seat, not from my preconceptions. And paraphrasing, meaning I take words that you did not use and go back with those words to tell you what you told me and confirm that I heard it correctly.
Right.
Yeah.
This is interesting. The talking stick is also called the speaker's staff.
There you are.
It is an instrument of Aboriginal democracy. And if you go on Wikipedia for talking stick, you will see the Kawaka Waka Wawa man is holding his...
Anything like the Michelin Man?
is holding his talking
Don't tell
stick.
me what stick he's holding.
He's holding his speaker staff.
There you are. That's better.
Let me tell you, it's time for me to talk, and that's because I'm holding this. Photo by Edward S. Curtis. All right, that's interesting. But I guess it's Aboriginal. But I do like
Aboriginal, okay.
There are, how to collaborate with businesses and in business. Make sure you speak the same language.
Okay.
Sell, don't ask. That's an interesting one.
Say that one.
Sell, don't ask.
Boy, I don't know.
So
I
like this
I'm
one
not with that
actually.
one.
You know what? I love this one. You know why? Because to me it says, hey, you know what? Take a risk. Sell us on your point. This is a free and open space. No one's going to say no to you. Give us your best shot. Sell it to us. Don't ask us and be wimpy about it. Commit to your idea.
In that
Let me hear the
context, I
best
can
way.
hear it.
I love that idea.
I can hear that.
Be prepared to network. Sure. What does networking mean? It's go and meet with others and share that idea and collaborate. But I guess networking is really, what are you doing? 'Cause collaborating is almost like I'm working on a project that I want to collaborate with you on. And together we want to work on this one project and hopefully it grows into something big. But networking is really, what is it that you're doing? Here's what I'm doing. But what are you doing? Let me understand that. Are there any kind of pieces that I can glean from there? And then what are you doing? Let me take a little piece of that.
Little connection making.
I'll take what I need and I'll leave the rest kind of thing.
The thing now that you tell me more, what I struggle with sell, don't ask, is that collaboration is something that we jointly work on and hopefully build.
Right.
Sell, don't ask is putting out my perspective on it, and it's more like a parry back and forth. At least that's what I'm hearing. It sounds more like a parry back and forth or a joust.
Well, if you, let me let's think of I don't know, Pebble watch. I'm just thinking of that. Ken, I got this idea for a Pebble watch, and I want to collaborate with you on it.
All right.
Here's what I know. Now, would you respond more to, do you think people would want to, listen to their MP3s instead of, on their phone or a little thing that clips onto them? Do you think they would want to listen to that on their watch? Then, I don't know, maybe you could get, their schedule on their watch or their contacts on their watch. Do you think that's something that people would do? Or what if I was to sell it to you? What are you more apt to do? Hey, Ken, I want to collaborate with you on this idea of this watch. It's very cool. What you can do is everything that you can do on your smartphone, but now it's on your wrist. So whether it is scrolling through your contacts to get a number, you can call that person if you have your earbuds in, or you can look at your calendar. You can have reminders pop up on your wristwatch. You don't have to go jogging through your phone. If your phone does ring, the call identification is right here. You don't have to find what pocket it's in to look at your phone. What do you think of this idea? Now, which are you more apt to say, that's interesting. Tell me more about it.
Tommy, you answer that
Well,
first.
here's what I'm going to say to you, that certainly the confidence that you portrayed in the second scenario is going to be much more appealing to me. But here's the caveat for me. Are you then, as confident as you are, still open to hearing me come back to you and say, wow, those are some great ideas, Brian, but here's what I'd like to suggest, that where I'm going to add this to that. And I'm going to let's expand what you've come across with in a very confident way and make it even bigger and better. Are you open to that?
Yes. And when you talk back to me about that, you need to sell it back to me.
Right.
Hey, that's a great idea. You know what else would be great? Introduce a pedometer for that, because people are constantly wearing these other little things like fuel bands and Fitbits. If we include that in there, that would be a great idea too, because what we're doing is we're combining a whole bunch of things in this wristwatch.
All right, Brian, I want to collaborate with you on the watch.
Okay,
but
ahead.
I don't want to put the contacts in there.
Okay.
I think the screen's too small to be able to scroll through 733 contacts. And I don't want to put a telephone function into the watch because I don't think either of those will work. What do you think?
Why don't they work?
I think that standing there with holding your arm up like this is just going to make it too uncomfortable for too many people too frequently.
I love what you're saying there. You know what? What if we included in the watch also had, let's put in a Bluetooth headset so you don't have to look down at your watch. Now, when calls come in, you can kind of glance down like you're just looking at the time, see who the caller is, whack the watch, but you have a little Bluetooth ear set in, and now you're running away with it.
Okay. And I would like to build on that even further by making voice recognition part of the watch. So I don't have to look through the contacts. I can just say, Brian Parker, call mobile. And it comes up with your mobile number and automatically calls it, and my Bluetooth engages.
I love it. Let's do it.
Okay. The
See,
role play is great.
That's much more exciting to me than, well, let's have a brainstorm session.
Well, yeah, you don't milk toast it in the ask mode, though.
Right. No. And I'm not sure if that's even selling. To me, that's just confidence in sharing.
Yeah.
I think I have a great idea, and I love your opinion on it, but let me share my confidence of this idea.
Well, isn't that what selling is? Confidence in sharing?
No. Selling is persuading.
Right. I think
when I first heard you sell the concept, my thought was he wants me to work for him in development of this watch, as opposed to he wants me to work with him in developing the concept of the watch.
Key. Right.
Two different interpretations.
Absolutely.
And
Good
only
point.
going back and forth 2 or 3 times did I get any sense of you being open to changes into your thought process.
I think that's a fair point.
Yeah. So
Which is so rare.
Every now and then.
Right.
You are my Kawaka Waka man.
All right, here's the stick, baby.
Do you have your speaker staff with you, Brian? That's what we
should
want.
Get a speaker staff.
Yeah, I guarantee you next week we're going to have some kind of stick in here.
There you go.
Right.
Oh, yes.
I have my speaker staff. Sponsored by Volky Wedges, Titleist.
Well, it honors at least 2 out of the 3 of us.
That's right.
I saw you staring at the screen. Is the chat room fighting back on any of this?
Oh, no, I was trying to say, how the heck do I say Kawaka Waka Waka man?
Oh, that was it. All right.
I'm reading. I'm multitasking over here. If only I had a watch that could do this for me.
At least a built-in dictionary.
There you go.
Yeah. Oh, that's fun. All right. Do we have anything else on this topic, or should we wrap it up?
My only closing thought is that, God, Washington, open your eyes and get out of the Beltway. Go pay attention to what business is doing, because it's working out here, and if you got out of our way, it would work even better.
Collaborate.
Thank you.
Please.
Go, collaborate, and be free. Thank you for joining us. We can't do the show without you out there listening. Thank you. Great discussion in the chat room. That's fun. And, of course, our sponsors, Gateway Financial Partners, the accounting firm of Budwitz and Meyer Jack, Deepwater Seafood of Avon, and CentralCTDental.com. Very special thanks to Evan Richards, our chat room moderator. We're going to be closing up business for this week, closing up shop, but we will be open next week at 5 p.m. for Open for Business. We'll see you.
Cheers.